This video will demonstrate the disassembly and reassembly of the Mossberg 500 series of slide-action shotguns for cleaning and maintenance. These instructions should also apply to the M590 military, M835 supermagnum, and Maverick 88 economy models. There will be slight cosmetic differences. First, as with any firearm, ensure all ammunition has been removed from the weapon. My previous video, Basic Firearms Tutorial number 8, demonstrates this process. After ensuring all ammunition has been removed from the weapon, open the action by pressing the action release at the rear of the trigger guard. Then release the magazine cap. This will differ in appearance on the 590 and 835 models. The barrel may then be removed forward. Depending on the shape of your forend, running the slide forward a short distance may help provide clearance to remove the barrel. This will usually suffice for routine cleaning and maintenance, and allows you to clean the barrel from the breech end. I will now demonstrate how to access the inside of the receiver and clean the internal parts. Using a non-marring tool, press the receiver pin out from either side. The trigger group may then be removed from the bottom of the receiver, causing the two shell stops to fall out. The shell stops are different, and one of them has a pivot pin, so it's easy to figure out which goes where during reassembly. Disassembly of the trigger group is not recommended. Usually it just needs a very light wipe on the top. Move the slide to align the bolt carrier with the large cutouts revealed when you remove the trigger group. The bolt carrier may then be lifted out, which will release the slide to move independently of the bolt system. The slide may then be moved completely off the magazine tube. Modern production of the 500, 590, and 835 have two action bars. Early production of the 500, and I believe the current production of the Maverick, have only a single action bar. To replace the forend with a synthetic or accessorized model, for example, this large nut here is removed in the obvious way. The first time I did it, I used the back edge of a table knife. You can buy special tools for them for a couple bucks, or you can make one out of a sheet of scrap metal. The bolt may then be slid forward out of the receiver. The bolt on the Mossbergs has a spring-loaded firing pin, unlike some other designs, and when the locking block is retracted, it forces the firing pin to retract. So it's essentially impossible to get this to fire out of battery. If you need to disassemble the bolt for maintenance, it's not very difficult. There are pins through here which hold the extractors, a very simple spring beneath each one. This big pin here is what the locking block pivots on. That will give you access to the firing pin and its spring. The lifter is held into the receiver by simple spring pressure. You squeeze it and it pops right out. It pivots on the two great big pins there. If your ejector is worn or damaged and needs replacement, this large screw right here is the only thing holding it in. If the magazine tube is damaged and needs replacement, it's threaded into the receiver like most such designs. It may be threaded very tightly. There may be some sealant in there as well. Use care to avoid damaging the magazine tube, which may be very thin and fragile. Reassembly is the obvious reverse. The lifter, squeeze, insert, pops right in. Bolt slides in through the front. Note how the ejector goes into the rail. This long cut here on the side of the bolt. The slide you'll have to jiggle a bit to get the action bars to line up. Align the slide so the forward edge of the cut on the action bars is aligned with the forward edge of that big cut in the receiver, and that's the correct position to drop your bolt carrier in. The trigger group will keep the bolt carrier from popping off those two prongs of the action bars. The shell stops are very obvious to replace. They each only go in a certain way. You will have to take care so that one doesn't fall out as you're putting the other in. This is one of those three hands jobs. But once you've done it a few times, it becomes familiar. This is not my own Mossberg, I've borrowed it, but I've owned 4 separate Mossbergs in the past. No, only 3. Finally, the trigger group hooks into the receiver. There, see, there's the shell stop. Right here and here is where it hooks into the front of the receiver. Make sure the shell stops are correctly positioned before you put the trigger group in. Hook the front of the trigger group into the receiver. It swings into the receiver. Press down there. There's a little spring resistance there from the hammer. Holding that, now the shell stops are being held in place. Reinsert the pin from either side. You don't even need a mallet. Now with the slide open, or mostly open, the barrel is reinserted into the receiver. Magazine cap is screwed down. There's a spring-loaded ball underneath the magazine cap to act as a ratchet. And reassembly is complete. Function test. Trigger reset. This should conclude the disassembly and reassembly of the Mossberg 500 series, which is a pretty big series of slide-action shotguns. It's one of the most common brands in America, widely encountered just about everywhere. Everyone should know how to use one. If you found this video useful, please consider a charitable donation through my website's PayPal button. Thank you.